We're live.
Awesome.
What do you want to do?
I can do an intro. You do an intro. Okay, so hey everyone, it's Will Middleton and Kurt Von Ahnen from LifterLMS. We'll be live here for the next hour answering questions on whatever platform you see us on: Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, LinkedIn, maybe some secret ones we don't know about. But I'm rocking the PM Pro merch today.
Oh. I'm rocking LifterLMS merch.
Nice. Yeah, I've got the Lifter hat and the PM Pro shirt. It was funny. I was doing a podcast with Chris yesterday, and he had a hat on, the Lifter hat. He had I think he had a Lifter shirt. We had a Lifter icon up here on our stream, and also on his whiteboard he has a Lifter sticker, and he had a coffee mug with Lifter on it. So like everything is like branded, and yeah, he's like, yeah, we'll reverse the hat, make the branding a little more subtle.
But I do that so you can see my eyes. I want people to know I'm not lying to them. If I'm like this, they don't know if I'm joking or not. And my sense of humor, I gotta be upfront with my sense of humor.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, like I like the light situation I have here in Minnesota because I have like the two big windows. Whereas like in Georgia, I had like an apartment that was kind of like darker. So like if I had my hat like this, my face was like dark, like yours, and you couldn't see my face at all. Yeah, anyone feel free to drop a question in the comments and we can do a screen share. We'd be happy to demo any questions you have, talk through any questions around tech, just general strategy around building an LMS, or just drop in and say, hey. I'll queue up a few questions here and drop them into the YouTube comments and then highlight them on screen, and we'll dive into those first. But any questions that come in live on call, we'll dive into those as well.
Before we get rolling, can I give you an update on something?
Totally.
Do you remember last week I mentioned that new page builder / blocks library tool called Maxi Blocks?
Yeah.
I put it into one of my sites this week. And dude, super intuitive, super easy. The libraries are like crazy modern. It's still really, really new. I always hesitate with new stuff, but man, I'm like super impressed because I've told you before, and the rest of the world knows, I am design blind. Like I know it looks good, but I can't invent stuff. Like I look at it and go, oh, that looks great. But like if I was looking at a blank template, would I make that? Probably not, right? And their template library, even the free version of the template library, is remarkable, new, fresh, modern, and using the builder inside blocks was really intuitive. So I just wanted to update people on that, because when I mention new things, if I can follow up, I want to make sure I do that.
Absolutely. I'm creating a demo site here. So I want to demo a new thing, a thing that we haven't talked about yet. It's something that's in soft launch and there's no documentation on it. Is a private site. I'm going to take a tour of it and figure it out. This is actually my first time using it. And I think that would be a fun thing to do here on the pre-sales call. While Will figures out what this product does, how it works, and figures out what kind of documentation we're going to write, we could do a little demo of it live. It's available for Infinity Bundle users, I believe, in the account. I'll confirm that here in a second when I log into LifterLMS.com.
I did a LifterLMS install last night, and it was in there. So if you have the bundle, you can just get it right through the bundle add-ons and more screen.
Private site. Download the zip file and upload that. Sure.
Now, for use case, Will, as you want to talk about this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, my understanding of the use case is like, let's say I was back working at Suzuki and I had a WordPress-based website to train my people. I would use this kind of as an internal training tool, right? So it's like just to restrict things except for internal users.
Right. Exactly. So I think it'll just display a login page. I haven't even read the product description or anything. Let's just share a screen and cut it open a little bit. Window, share window, share this. There we go.
We're in.
We are in. So I have a little basic install running LifterLMS and Lifter private site. Just kind of take a tour around. All right, settings. See where this takes me. Lifter settings integrations, private site. I'll enable this. Okay. A little Ajax saving. I didn't even click save and it did that. It's fun. enable, disable. So we have private site login page. So this is where we'll designate our login. Did it create a page when it installed itself? Let's figure that out.
Wouldn't you like to know?
It did. 54609. Yeah, so it did create a page automatically here. Let's view this. I don't know what this is about. Interesting. So it's like I can see this thing, this login page, even though I'm logged in. Usually on Lifter pages, like the dashboard or registration page, you can't see the page until you log in. Is there a short code? Oh, new short code available. Private site login short code. Interesting. Private site login. We have a registration here too, but I have open registration turned on. I wonder if that removes itself when I disable open registration. Accounts. It's open registration. Weird. Is that just a feature of the product?
Is that just a feature?
Let's see. Where is my open registration? Is it? Am I looking in the wrong area? Like open registration should be a thing anyway. Let me disable the plugin real quick. Let's see if I'm losing my mind about open registration. Yeah, okay. Open registration is a thing. And when I activate this private site, it seems like it goes away. Yeah. That's weird. Don't know if that's a feature or a bug. That's okay. Let me try disabling that feature and then saving changes, because what I'm trying to do here is see if I can get register to go away. See what happens here. Interesting. Interesting. So that might be a little bug. It might not be though. I'll write that down though as something I want to check out about what's going on. Take a note here on the side. I'll have to test that out. I reported a bug recently, just like yesterday, and I was wrong. There was no problem. It was my SiteGround instance that was causing a problem for me. And so I want to make sure to flesh this out before making anything concrete about it. So, cool. So we have the login page. I wonder what happens when I try to view this site when I'm logged out, though. Let me log out of here. So I have private site set up. Let's view a page real quick. Maybe the about page. So this theoretically should be locked down if I log out. So we log out, jump to the front end. Okay, so yeah, it's going to display this. I'm still, you can see my URL is still the source URL. It just pops up this login page. What if I went to the about page though? Let's reload over here. Okay, it just redirects me to the home page, I guess, and shows me this form where I can log in. I'm going to have to go to my other tab here and figure out how I can get back into my demo site, because we're using a sandbox environment. So I have to use a fancy link to get in.
And with that, we will say, hi, Linzel. Welcome to the call.
Welcome. Feel free to drop any questions in the chat about LifterLMS, tech questions, getting started. Whatever questions you have, we're happy to help. In the meantime, while we're waiting for the questions to come in, I'll curate some from social platforms, and I'm taking a tour of a new LifterLMS add-on that soft launched for the Infinity Bundle customers, and also is available, I think, on our store now, called Private Sites. And I'm figuring it out for the first time here, taking a tour of it, looking through the settings live on the call. So let me head back over to integrations, private sites. That's where this thing lives. We have our private site login. We've basically figured out how that works, with the open registration being a little bit funny. Oh, wait, there's open registration. What am I thinking? See, here's the correction. Open registration might move over here once we enable the plugin. Let's correct my thesis on that. So let's see. So yeah, that's interesting. So it looks like the open registration feature moves when I turn on this plugin. Let's see. Membership catalog, private site login. So let's view this thing. So yeah, now open registration is back. Okay, there we go. New discovery about LifterLMS private sites. when you enable, oh yeah, where's roof? When you enable LifterLMS private sites, this feature moves from your accounts area into this integration. I don't know why, but it makes sense because this setting pertains to this specifically. So it makes sense that you'd want this over here rather than over there. So let me delete my note because that's a feature, not a bug. We should have a like a pop-up that says feature, not a bug, and we could hit that every time I discover something. Oh yeah, Linzel, feel free to drop any questions in the chat. Anything you need advice on, we'd be happy to help out. So registration, search engine visibility. So here's another setting. Or let me, I'll take a break from the tour here, and we'll jump into Linzel's question, and we'll jump back over in a minute.
Okay, so I don't know if Linzel lives in Idaho or not, but rafting is awesome. First time I went rafting was in Northern California, and I got to watch my wife get a crash course in swimming through rapids. It was pretty cool. Mini course every month. I include video, PDF, and a digital downloadable file. This is exactly the use case for a LifterLMS super site, Linzel. So you've got 4 lessons per month and a mini course, basically mini course every month. You want to put video, which is awesome. PDFs, you can absolutely attach. Downloadable files, you can either link them to lessons, or you could put them into an easy digital download thing. If you wanted to sell like the workbook or sell a file, you could do that. So that is all fairly straightforward. And then you could even put in like a course scheduler kind of third-party add-on there. If you wanted to cycle that same course, but replay it for a new cohort every month, you could set it up that way. She's got more going on here, Will. She's got lots of questions coming. Oh, crafting, not rafting. Crafting. Well, Linzel, I'm just going to be honest with you. Crafting is a whole lot less exciting to me than rafting. Just going to tell you. So you want to have a free membership. They'll have access to only one of the lessons per month. Give them a sneak peek of the topics and invite them to upgrade to a paid membership. This is perfect. Absolutely perfect. And Will can do a demonstration on this on a screen share, or I could, doesn't matter. But we have features in LifterLMS where you could offer people like a free lesson as a lead magnet, where the rest of the course is locked down, but they have access to a lesson, sample that lesson, and then encourage them to select one of the access plans that would be for sale. Of course, you can also have free courses. So you could have a course that is free, and then you can have courses that have to be attached to a membership in order to access them. So in LifterLMS, one of the advantages of Lifter is that it comes with the membership restriction tools already built in. So you can have access plans for both courses and for memberships. And so if you grouped your courses together as part of a membership, let's say you had 5 courses, a free one, and 4 that were a charge as part of a membership, you would have an access plan for that membership, and then you would auto-enroll people into those 4 courses when they signed up for that membership. So that's a really, really good model to try and roll on for that. She says here, if someone stops paying for the paid membership, they should move to the free membership. Well, if you have a course that's free, they'll be able to access that regardless. Now, Will, I want to be clear on this. If we put in a course in a website and it doesn't have an access plan, then it's free and it's open and anybody can kind of take that content, right? But if they have an access plan with no payment required, then they have to sign up with email and all that.
Well, with a no access plan created, there's no way to actually get in.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
So we would have to have an access plan at some way to get in, or like Kurt mentioned with the membership, that might be another way to get into that course plan here. So with having a free membership that'll access only 1 lesson per month and give them a sneak peek. So free membership, that's pretty simple to do with Lifter, and then 1 of the lessons per month. Interesting. So access to only 1 of the lessons per month. That makes sense. So there's like multiple. So if you're in the paid membership, I guess you get 4, like 1 each week, and then if you're in the free, you just get 1 of them. Is what I'm kind of putting together. I think have access to all the lessons, right? Then if someone stops paying for the paid membership, they should move to the free membership. I like what Kurt mentioned though about having the two memberships, the free one and the paid one, and the free one is just available to everyone where they could just sign up. So if you're in the paid, basically you'd have two memberships, the premium and the free. And if you dropped out of the paid, you would just still retain the free one. I like that kind of setup. There are some more advanced setups where you could use like Automator WP to say when somebody unenrolls from a membership, enroll them into the other one. A little more complex. I would just do the two with LifterLMS out of the box. And love that LifterLMS integrates with WooCommerce. That's another consideration with recurring membership. I guess, Kurt, do you want to speak to that a little bit about recurring membership with WooCommerce? Because I know there's some like caveats with that.
Yeah, the biggest caveat with that is that when you use WooCommerce and you want to have a subscription service, you need to get their add-on for WooCommerce subscriptions. The last I checked, and Will, I think I got this from you, that price had recently gone up to $240 a year. It used to be $199, now it's $239. So that is that can be a detriment for some, especially in a startup situation. So in that situation, you could have a WooCommerce shopping cart selling product, and you could still have a LifterLMS, payment gateway working to sell the subscriptions. However, it's not a real smooth user experience, right? So if you're thinking about a smoother user experience, you want to have, an honest to goodness subscription model in your WooCommerce cart, and then tie that to your LifterLMS pages.
Yeah, that makes sense. And the PayFast gateway for South Africa sounds like the reason here we'd want to go with WooCommerce. And this is a good question here. Would I need Paid Memberships Pro or something extra? I'm wearing the Paid Memberships Pro merch, but that is not required for this setup at the moment. Paid Memberships Pro is kind of like a partner with Lifter. I mean, the Paid Memberships Pro, the owners of Paid Memberships Pro, Jason and Kim, are also owners of Lifter. But for this setup, you would not need both products. It doesn't sound like. Just Lifter, the WooCommerce gateway, and WooCommerce subscriptions sound like what we're putting together here for the setup. Yeah.
And just to be fair to WooCommerce, because I used to sound almost bitter about it, but now that I've done so many setups with WooCommerce, it really is more intuitive than the instructions make it sound. Like, here's an access plan for LifterLMS. I need to make a product in WooCommerce that ties the two together. Like it really just gets that kind of simple A to A, B to B kind of setup. So don't be intimidated about using the WooCommerce or about setting up the WooCommerce. Just walk in eyes wide open, knowing that if you want to do recurring payments and subscriptions, you do need to have an add-on from WooCommerce to activate that and make that a reality.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like LifterLMS would be a good fit. We do have that dollar demo that might be worth checking out in this case. LifterLMS dollar demo. We could probably find a link to that, put it in the chat.
I'm going to put the link in for you.
Cool.
So don't worry about that. I got the link.
Yeah, so I'd recommend checking out the dollar demo, maybe fiddling around with the courses and memberships access a little bit. You could even maybe do that with the free core plugin too on your website if you wanted to try that. But the dollar demo, we host it for you. So if you want to do it in our environment, you can do that. Dollar demo or the free core plugin. The free core plugin is also available to make sure you can get that set up, and then you can integrate the payments at the end of the project. And another question came up: what mail system do you suggest that I use with all of this?
Don't do it, Will. Don't do it.
When you say mail system, I assume you're referring to an email list tool or a CRM, rather than like transactional emails through like SendGrid or MailHawk or SendWP. There's two types of emails in a WordPress website. There are the transactional emails, which are lost passwords, purchase receipts, student welcome, LifterLMS engagements. These are like triggered from the WordPress website. And then the second type of emails, the email list tool, like a MailChimp or an ActiveCampaign or ConvertKit or Groundhog, these email list management tools. So Lifter is not an email list management tool itself. So you would want something like maybe a MailChimp or ActiveCampaign or something like that. And I know Lifter integrates with MailChimp and ConvertKit with the extensions in our universe bundle. So those are direct integrations. When somebody enrolls in a course or membership, the Lifter MailChimp integration informs MailChimp, and then MailChimp can take it from there and put them on a list, give them tags, send them customer emails, send them upgrade opportunities, all that kind of stuff, and keep things organized in your MailChimp based on what's happening in your Lifter install. MailPoet. MailPoet is a Lifter. Have you worked with MailPoet, Kurt?
I have worked with MailPoet, but I now I need, we're adding layers. This is where we have those conversations with customers where things get, we're adding layers. My version of using MailPoet was strictly just for blog post summaries. So it sends out a weekly summary of new blog posts to the website. So that's one feature that MailPoet does. And then the other thing was for newsletter generation, right? So I could use MailPoet to send a mass email out. I could do that. But if I was going to send a sequence of emails, if I was going to build a sales funnel, an onboarding funnel, an upgrade funnel, something like that, then I would go to a real CRM. I would go to Fluent CRM, or because I like stuff that works in the back of the website, like MailPoet does, right? So I like Groundhog. I like Fluent. I like the tools that go into the back of my site and work directly off my user list inside my site and can sync as contacts to that CRM. So I've used setups in the past where the newsletter and the blog post summary is coming from MailPoet, but the marketing and sequence emails are actually coming from the CRM.
Okay, cool. And yeah, it can be stressful with the whole stack. And when you run a CRM out of the back end of your website, you want to make sure to have like a good SMTP setup. Not all website hosts can send emails. You get them into the inbox. Like, when you send an email from the website, maybe from a shared hosting server, there might have been another website on that server that got that IP address blacklisted by Gmail. And now if you're trying to email a Gmail user, it's just not going to work because the IP address it's coming from isn't good. So that's where making sure you have an SMTP service if you're sending a lot of emails from the back end of your WordPress is important. And SMTPs aren't too bad. Like, I know Groundhog has Mailhawk that developed by the same company in the back end, and I would assume Fluent might have one too, but there's a lot of options for an SMTP. And
if you're a Fluent user, the Fluent SMTP comes free. It's a free plugin. And then I use Elastic Email as an SMTP third-party server. So I get so many emails a month for a really low fee. I think she's on WordPress.com.
Oh, WordPress is my hosting. Okay, so WordPress.com. WordPress.com is not a platform I've worked as much with as WordPress.org on, Cloudways or WP Engine or one of these other hosting providers. I don't know if WordPress.com allows you to configure SMTPs. I assume it does. And usually when I create a WordPress website, I don't set up an SMTP because I'm like, let's see if my lost passwords start breaking, and then I'll worry about it. But if you are going to put a CRM in the back end of your website, that is something you'll want to address up front. And so WordPress, yeah, I would assume they can install an SMTP. Like they give you full access to plugins on the business plan level. And then if you run into sending issues, you would just want to take a look at with WordPress.com or whatever your host is, how many emails you can send per hour, per day, per month. They're going to have some sort of limitation that they've set up that's going to stop your website from sending emails at a certain point. And so if you have 1,000 people on your email list and you have 2,000 emails you can send per month from the website, that means you can only do like one broadcast, and then your lost passwords are going to bring you to about 1,020. So you're going to have to get an SMTP that supports more broadcast emails. In that case,
yeah, the keyword for email is throttling. They'll say email throttling, and that's what you want to look at: how many you can send per minute, per hour, something like that. And then we haven't even touched on cron jobs.
Oh yeah. WordPress is built in, of course, like the language PHP, and PHP is more server side. It's more rendered based on triggering events. So if the user interacts with the website or sends a request, the PHP is going to generate a response and send it, or whatever the code's configured to do. And so And sending things like broadcasts at a certain time, like if you set up a broadcast that's going to send 1 hour from now and then you walk away from the website, you're going to require a function called cron, or you're going to be relying on a function called cron, which is just setting up triggered events and checking, like, is there something we need to do right now in the log of like, oh yeah, there's an email that needs to be sent right now, let's do it, even though the user's not interacting with the website. Cron comes into play with like scheduling blog posts and stuff like that. It's scheduled events that aren't necessarily triggered by user interaction. A little more complicated, but it's pretty simple. I could simple to configure.
I'm putting a link for cron jobs right into the chat.
And these topics like cron and SMTP usually aren't very important unless you're running a CRM inside of your website, because now this website that's usually used for blog posts and now courses and e-commerce is now doing a new function of managing and delivering emails. So there are a couple more pieces that come into play for that. But it sounds like this setup is something that, you know, I think both me and Kurt have a picture in our head of what we're putting together here. So it's definitely possible to create this setup. It's just taking a look at what tools we might need for this setup. And so this question did come up about, so I can use two different ones. I think she means MailPoet and a Fluent CRM, or MailPoet and Groundhog, whatever. So you can run both of those in one website.
Yeah, you can run both on the same site.
Cool.
Now, I said that, so there's going to be 19 people that watch this that'll comment later that'll say, well, I could just do the whole thing through Fluent, or I could do the whole thing through Groundhog, or I could do the whole thing through... Yeah, you could. But MailPoet is specifically made and has templates. And so it's MailPoet's just really easy to use for that use case that I just put out there for doing the post summary and the newsletter. So out of laziness and as a service to my clients, I'll say, hey, do you want something that's pre-formatted, something that's easy to use, or do you want to generate something from scratch out of your CRM? And then what do people always say? Oh, no, I want, like, yeah, give me the easy button, bro. And so, yeah, I'll leave both in the back of the site and let them use both.
Okay.
By the way, I'm just going to give credit where credit's due. I got that strategy working with WP Tonic, because that's both of those are on the list that they make available with their hosting.
Yeah, and that's another, I guess, third-party ecosystem partner. They're on our recommended resources page, so we could highlight their service offering. I guess, Kurt, if you want to talk a little bit about like your experience with WP Tonic and what service offering might be and why Lindsell might want to take a look at their pricing page.
The biggest thing about looking at WP Tonic is the whole thing is kind of a white glove service for the buyer, for the web person, whoever the customer is, right? So they get the hosting, and in most hosting environments, sometimes you get a blank, WordPress site to work with, right? But with WP Tonic, you get to pick from a series of templates, and you also get to pick from an amazing list of plugins that are licensed. They're the pro versions of things. So they have LifterLMS as the Infinity version. They have the MailPoet. They have Fluent. They have Fluent CRM, Fluent CRM Pro, Fluent Form, Fluent SMTP, Automator WP, WP Fusion comes with it. And so when you start looking at a more complicated web build, like, and well, you and I are in the same industry. So we look at it and we go, well, Lifter's $1,200 for Infinity, and WooCommerce is, well, that's free. That doesn't count. WP Fusion has a fee. Different forms, form generators have fees, like Fluent Form, I think is $149 or something like that. Anyway, you add it all up and it comes with your hosting anyway. And so for $55 a month, you could have, really good hosting and a really cool menu of pro licensed plugins to build your site on. And so if you're building something that has a lot of layers to it, that's a really good value.
Yeah, and I think we had another question come in. All of the items make me really confused. I'm not very tech savvy when I buy Lifter and I get stuck. Will you guys help me? We do offer email support at LifterLMS, and as an Infinity Bundle user, if you decide to go with that package, me and Kurt do hop on once a week. Actually, after this call ends, it's like an hour and a half from now, we hop on Zoom and answer all kinds of tech support and strategy questions. And also, we do these live streams multiple times a week too, so you can hop in here and ask questions as well. I'd recommend checking out the WP Tonic service for your use case, especially if you're less tech savvy and the items may be a little bit overwhelming when thinking about LMS, WooCommerce, SMTP, all that kind of setup. Because if you check out the WP Tonic page, I don't know if we could drop a link to that. I think we might have like an affiliate link or something. Sounds like Kurt might be on that, and I'd recommend checking out that page. And so with WordPress.com hosting or any hosting, like usually you would go to a company like Cloudways or WP Engine, one of these web hosting companies that will rent you space in their server, and then you install the free WordPress product. But with WordPress.com, they just host it and install it for you, so it's like one-stop solution. And then the WP Tonic offering is a company that came along and offers that Kurt works with, and offers not only the WordPress install and the website hosting, but also the other tools like LifterLMS is included in their bundle. What else? And a bunch of all those other products that Kurt listed for creating a WordPress setup, along with services for helping create that setup. And the nice thing about a service like WP Tonic is that it puts sort of there's like, it's like a higher level of support than you'll find at most hosting companies. Like, WP Engine or Cloudways, they have great support. When you have a question, you can always jump into their support and ask like, hey, how do I fix this? I got this error. What do I do here? And WP Tonic seems like a little more involved, where you could even like get involved with the site building and have someone else helping you build out the site in some small ways. Is kind of my impression.
Yeah, when we put together a package on WP Tonic, we kind of do an interview with the customer first to find out what they want, right? Because it's a giant list of plugins. You don't get all the plugins. You just, which one of these do you need, right? And so we do an interview with you. We find out what you need, and then we send the work order out to our dev team, and they put the whole site together for you and basically construct a functional WordPress site that's already set up. And then you need to change your text and your images, and you probably need to tweak a couple of settings in the back of those setups. But your CRM comes ready to use. It's already attached to your website. The licensing, it's you could go in there and type out an email and send it to whoever's in your list. It's a pretty cool deal.
For sure. And like Linzel had mentioned, building websites, and I think you said this too, Kurt, is that building websites comes in layers. Like, we have the basic WordPress install where we can put up blog posts. We can maybe create a restaurant style website where we have static content. We blog static content. That's really what WordPress is about. And then plugins come along to extend the functionality. Like WooCommerce takes a blog website, turns it into e-commerce website by adding some additional functionality. Then Lifter comes along and offers like courses and memberships, and now there's the idea of content restriction and access and quizzes and all this kind of stuff. That's a part of the Lifter extension to WordPress. And we're really kind of building out more of a complex product by adding more to our WordPress install, but it's much more accessible than like coding in the functionality from scratch. So yeah, but it can get a bit overwhelming. And then we go even further and we put an email system into the back of the website as well. So now we've got the e-commerce system, the learning delivery system, and now an email management system. So we're building a full stack application on top of WordPress. And it's totally possible, totally doable. People do it all the time. Me and Kurt do this stuff every day. But it does get kind of complex with those layers.
The thing that amazes me, even to this day, when I hear us talk like this, Will, and I'm just being blunt, is like in the corporate space. Like if you watch Shark Tank and they go, well, for $350,000, we'll give you 5% stake in our company, blah, blah, blah. And then the sharks will say, so for my $350,000, what are you going to do with that? And then they'll typically say, oh, we need to redo our website. And that's when one of the sharks will go, oh, that could run $150,000, and people like you and I we probably watch that and go, wow, I wish I could find some customers that would give me $150,000. But, think about it. a shopping cart, a communication system, user management platform, content, video, audio, pictures, all of that we can build in WordPress. And all the security stuff and all that people used to talk about 14 years ago is kind of a non-issue at this point.
Yeah, WordPress is pretty good. There's also security plugins. We could put a security plugin on there too, in order to lock down, force two-factor authentication, other security measures that prevent robots from hitting the site and stuff like that. There's all kinds of functionality that can be added to WordPress to help the application be what you want it to be. It's just a super open source environment, but when you get into an open source environment like WordPress, and you can go in any direction, in every direction, it can get kind of overwhelming figuring out what you should do. So here's another question. Just to make sure, with LifterLMS, the members can change between different membership levels. So the members themselves, there's not like a membership switching functionality. I know WooCommerce memberships does have that though. Not WooCommerce memberships, WooCommerce subscription. We pull that WooCommerce subscriptions back up. Let's see. I lost my tab. There it is. WooCommerce subscription. I think switching is a feature of this product, which it sounds like we would need for this stack. So we have cost switching. I'd recommend checking this one out a little bit. I've never actually done a subscription switching setup. But if you could switch to a different subscription product, and LifterLMS WooCommerce, what it does is it ties in to the WooCommerce system to say when you purchase a specific WooCommerce product, enroll them in a specific membership, of course. So, upgrade from free to paid for this example would be totally doable. It would just be my suggestion is to have the two memberships. When you go from the free to the paid, you just have two memberships. You can keep your free pass as well as having the paid pass. And if you ever want to give up the paid one, it's just let it go and you'll still retain the free one. I'd recommend doing it that way. Keep it simple. We could make it a little more complex and actually remove you from the free one when you join the paid one. And then when you go from paid back to free, remove them from different, re-enroll them in the free. It's a little more complicated. I would just give them two passes. Be like, yep, here's two lanyards. Basically, you can get into the free content, you can get into the paid content. That's probably what I would do.
Yeah, and the biggest difference there, I think, is that those types of memberships will tag those user bases differently. So if you were thinking about mail lists and like a mail going out to people in a paid version and mail going out to people in a free version, everybody would get the free version, and then you would have exclusive content you would mail to the paid members. So that's kind of how that would work if you were thinking 3 steps ahead.
Yeah. And yeah, that's definitely it's possible to kind of do this multiple different ways, but
yeah. And to be honest, Will, I'm thinking about other LMSs on the market in the WordPress space. I don't think there's really a better fit than Lifter for what she's describing.
Right.
Because we come with the membership tools included. You don't have to bundle and stitch a bunch of things together to get the result you want. You're going to get a lot of the functionality right out of the box.
That is true. Like we were talking about the layers of e-commerce, learning, email, and then just the basics of WordPress. If you were to go with like another WordPress LMS solution, that really breaks it into 2 components. They have the learning management part, that's courses and quizzes and that kind of thing, and then the memberships component is a separate component. But with Lifter, we combine courses and memberships into one. So, if you were doing maybe like a LearnDash setup for memberships, you would want something like PM Pro or another membership solution. So then it would move from like 4 pieces of the puzzle to 5. Still manageable, still doable. It's just a little more complex in the back end. So, we can move it to 4 pieces. It sounds like we've got the base WordPress, we've got the LMS, and the WooCommerce, part number 3, and then part number 4 is the email. as kind of the components of this WordPress application. The WooCommerce integration is needed for the rest of the products I want to sell. Okay, yeah, so there is the e-commerce component of having other products in the store other than just the membership option. But yeah, I think Lizelle, I think you're in the right place with getting it figured out. I recommend checking out the WP product offering because a lot of that is included, and it might make the process of getting things set up a little bit easier. I don't know, is there any like Kurt, you might know this a little better than me. Is there any like quote process or email or anything like pre-sale that she could do to get it like a consult on that? That's like low risk.
With WP Tonic?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the WP Tonic site, let me see if I can find it. About us, download now, hosting. Learn more. Learn more here, your problem's fixed. There it is. Free consultation.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, with John from WP Tonic.
Yeah, here, free consult at WP Tonic. And I'll put the link in for that.
Awesome. So, yeah, I'd recommend maybe doing that free consult with WP Tonic and laying out yourself those 4 components of WordPress, learning, e-commerce, and email. Just kind of like figuring it out yourself a little bit, and maybe doing that free consult as well. And then you'll figure out which direction you feel a little bit better going in. If you want to take it on yourself and build the application out with those 4 layers and plugins and configuration, or if you wanted to outsource that technical aspect, you'll get a little bit of a better feel after checking out those 2 avenues.
Yeah, at the risk of turning this into a full-blown commercial, if you look at WP Tonic's site, as you go down, any of these learn mores are going to lead you to a free consultation with them. And this gives you the comparison of like what WP Tonic does in regards to like against Kajabi or some things like that. When you go to pricing, that's where you're going to see things really break out. And so when you go down here, like the list of plugins that you can get is, LifterLMS is at the top of the list, but you can do a Buddy Boss website. You can get Lifter Elements plugged in if you're using Elementor. So you can have the page builder, the pro version of Elementor, affiliate WP. Here's the Fluent products I was talking about. WP Fusion can come with it. Mail Poet, Cart Flows. Amelia is an appointment setting plugin that is super high level. Has its own payment gateway and stuff too, so people can pay for appointments before they come. Automator Pros included, Woo Funnels, Bertha, if you're into artificial intelligence, comes with a Bertha license if that's something that you want to put into the site. And so basically, you have a meeting, you have the consult with them. They figure out your use case, what you want to do with the site when it's done, and then they turn around and make it for you. And you'll see it live within like somewhere between like 48 and 70 hours. You get a website that's done, and then you just got to go in and add your own text and images.
Yeah, and I think that might be a good thing to check out for this case, of just making sure we get the best solution possible.
Yeah, and they have support. So at the bottom of that website, you can click on support, and then once you're a member of WP Tonic, if you have questions or problems, you just send in a support ticket, and someone sends you an answer. It's kind of a nice deal.
For sure. Cool. Well, I'm going to dive back in here to the Will Explores private sites.
Explores the new tools.
Yeah, so we have search engine visibility. I've seen this setting before somewhere else on a WordPress instance. Let me see if that setting also gets pulled into this interface like it does with, I think maybe it's reading. Yeah, search engine visibility. So it's there, but if I activate this thing, is it going to leave? Nope. It doesn't. It's still in both places, but I think this is the same field. label for blog public. Yeah, so it is the same field. Just so now that option is in two places. So you have that option if you want to discourage search engine indexing. And maybe for an explanation of what we're taking a look at here is the private site add-on from LifterLMS that soft launched, available in the Infinity bundle now and also available in our store. Search engine visibility. If you're running an internal training site and you want to lock down the entire website so nobody can get in, there's no sales page, there's nothing except for a login page, completely for internal training, this is the add-on for you to the LifterLMS plugin. Search engine visibility is something you'd probably want to disable. If there's no content on the website for people to view, there's no reason to have search engines index a login page.
Unless getting a bunch of spam from bots makes you feel more successful inside.
That is true. That is true. If you want spam bots, leave that registration form up. And you know what? I guess technically you might have your free registration. If you're using the private site add-on, there might be some use case that I haven't heard of yet where you want people to register for free, and then they would maybe get enrolled in a course or something like that on registration. I don't know. Yep, no problem. Yeah, I can't think of why you would want an indexed page like this. And let's see what other settings we have. Disable RSS feeds. That would be good to do, disabling your RSS feeds if you don't want your blog post or private content being accessible. I don't know if you can access, I think you can access RSS even with a lockdown website. So this is where you'd want to disable your RSS feed. If you have blog posts or just other feeds coming from your website, you'd want to disable this so that even though you have your login lockdown, your homepage, your about page, you can't view anything unless you log in, you probably could still access the RSS feed, and this feature would allow us to disable that. That's kind of nice to have. And disable REST API for unauthenticated users. I would just check all these boxes and save changes. If we're really building an internal site that no one's supposed to access, check these boxes to prevent API requests, prevent RSS, prevent search engine visibility. Maybe not have open registration. For my site, I would just do the login form for an internal training site. And the use case here would be that someone is creating the user on the back end, because if someone were to visit our website, they would see a login page. There's no way for the user to interact with this website unless they already have an email and password set up. So an admin or a virtual assistant working with the company or somebody on the inside of the company who has access to create users would create the user, send them their email password, and then they could get in that way. But that seems like a full tour of private sites to me. I know, Kurt, have you given this one a try yet on your own instance and found anything interesting with it?
That's a big negative, sir.
All right. Yeah, this is...
the thing to think about with those types of features, Will, and it's something that, some people might think, oh, that's cool, is from a maintenance perspective, when you have a large audience and they are not good about reading their emails or their directions well, you create more manual work to do for yourself. I think it's always like, you should always have the, hey, this is a cool tool, and then, hey, this is the result of that cool tool. So you're going to get a lot of emails. It's like, oh, I got the website, but I wasn't able to log in. I wasn't able to do this. I wasn't able to do that. I can't, my password doesn't work, or, just weird stuff. So you end up resetting a lot of passwords for people.
Yeah. You mean like the private site login has a password reset on there?
They don't use it.
Oh, yeah.
Like standard users. So that's like my biggest complaint with my corporate clients. Like when I have a large corporate, they're always looking for some way like, well, how do we get people to stop emailing us to reset their password? And I'm like, well, there's a forgotten password thing right there. Oh yeah, they don't use it. And it's like, well, I don't know how to fix that for you. I mean, that's right on the screen. But maybe you redesign it with CSS or do something to make it a bigger button with flashing orange lightning bolts around it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Dude, do you know the code for flashing lightning bolts?
I don't. We could probably put like some pictures here. Put like a background image.
The dude with the red stapler from Office Space.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is a page in WordPress, so we could just throw a picture on here. Put an image and say, "Don't."
With your fancy full site editing tools, you can.
Oh yeah, this isn't even full site editing. This is just me editing a page with Block Editor. But you could do your template parts if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And do it, some sort of big, because this is a URL. If we go to this URL here, lost password, I'm logged in, so it's not going to do anything. But you could just put this URL as a part of your image, so you could hide that lost password link and put a big picture of Kurt that says like, click here to like, if you lost your password, and it would like link to the lost password URL.
What's a CodePen.io? Do you know what that is?
I don't. Maybe a virus.
Could be a virus. It's from Adam. I don't think Adam's going to send us a virus.
Yeah.
Adam's like, dude, I'm so sorry for sending you that virus.
It's like a crypto mining thing where it'll like turn your computer into a miner.
The best place to build, test, and discover front-end code.
Oh, code. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've heard of that for like learning JavaScript and CSS, where you can write on the left side of the screen your code, and on the right side it shows what you're making. Yeah.
Man, it has HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's fancy.
That is
all right.
Fancy. We are at about the top of the hour now, so we'll probably wrap it up for today's stream, and we'll be live again next week, answering LifterLMS pre-sales questions. Any questions you have, check us out live. We'll be producing some more content around LifterLMS Sky Pilot, LifterLMS private sites, and more releases to come with Lifter. This has been Will Middleton and Kurt von Ahnen from LifterLMS. We hope to see you on our next live, and until then, let us know any questions you have, and have a good weekend. Make sure to